What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, where I talk about all things gaming. Today, I want to discuss the potential sequel to one of my favorite games of 2020, Ghost of Tsushima. This game was a masterpiece of open-world action-adventure, set in feudal Japan, where we follow the story of Jin Sakai, a samurai who became the legendary Ghost of Tsushima. The game was a huge success, both critically and commercially. This game sold over 9 million copies worldwide and got many awards. Best Art Direction and Player's Voice at the Game Awards 2020. Best PlayStation Game of 2020 by GameSpot. Excellence in Animation, Art, and Visual Achievement and Most Valuable Creator by South by Southwest Gaming and Famitsu respectively. Audio Achievement and 4 other awards at the DICE Awards 2021. It even got a Director's Cut edition with a new island to explore and a multiplayer mode called Legends. The Ghost of Tsushima is also getting a live-action movie adaptation, directed by Chad Stahelski, the man behind the John Wick franchise. This shows that Sony and Sucker Punch are confident in the IP and want to expand it to other media. It also means that the game has a lot of fans and potential customers, which is a good incentive to make a sequel. But the question is, will we ever see Ghost of Tsushima 2? And if so, when and where will it take place? Well, there is no official confirmation from Sucker Punch, the developers of the game, but there are some clues and rumors that suggest that a sequel is indeed in the works. Let's take a look at them. First of all, back in 2020, Sucker Punch posted some job listings for writers who had knowledge of feudal Japanese history and a desire to write stories set in that period. This could mean that they were looking for new talent to work on Ghost of Tsushima 2, or at least a DLC or a spin-off. Then, in 2023, they added more listings for developers who specialized in multiplayer games, which could indicate that they were expanding the Legends mode or creating a new online experience. Secondly, according to Jeff Grubb, one of the most reliable insiders in the industry, Ghost of Tsushima 2 was not present at the PlayStation Showcase 2023, which means that the game is probably still in early development and not ready to be revealed. However, in an interview the director of the first game this also implies that the game exists and that Sucker Punch is working on it behind the scenes. Thirdly, there is a high possibility of getting inspired from the second historical Mongol invasion of Japan 1281's event. Well, the first game was inspired from the first Mongol invasion of 1274. So we can hope that Sucker Punch Studio will took inspiration from the second historical Mongol invasion for the second game. However, Jin becoming an outlaw and a rebel, and the title of Ghost of Tsushima being his legacy. Maybe the sequel might not follow Jin's story, but rather a new protagonist or a different setting. But if Sucker Punch Studio took inspiration from the second historical Mongol invasion for the sequel game, we can predict the sequel game's story by knowing what happened in the real second epic historical Mongol invasion of Japan. So let's know what happened in the second historical Mongol invasion of 1281. You may have heard of the first Mongol invasion of 1274, when the mighty army of Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, tried to conquer Japan with a huge fleet of ships and thousands of soldiers. But the Japanese samurai fought bravely and the Mongols were hit by a typhoon, or a divine wind, that destroyed many of their ships and forced them to retreat. But Kublai Khan was not satisfied with this outcome. He wanted to add Japan to his vast empire, which stretched from China to Korea and beyond. He also wanted to avenge the losses he suffered in the first invasion and punish the Japanese for refusing to pay tribute and submit to his rule. So, in 1281, he launched a second invasion, even bigger and more ambitious than the first one. He prepared 2 fleets, one from Korea with about 40,000 soldiers and 900 ships, and another from southern China with about 100,000 soldiers and 3,500 ships. He planned to coordinate the 2 fleets and attack Japan from different directions, hoping to overwhelm the Japanese defenses, but the Japanese were not caught off guard this time. They had learned from the first invasion and improved their fortifications, weapons, and tactics. They also had a strong leader in Hojo Tokimune, the regent of the Kamakura Shogunate, who rallied the samurai and the common people to resist the Mongols. The Korean fleet arrived first in June 1281 and tried to land on the island of Kyushu, the southernmost of the main Japanese islands. But they were met by fierce resistance from the Japanese, who used stone walls, iron spikes, fire arrows, and explosive bombs to repel the invaders. The Mongols could not break through the Japanese defenses and were stuck in a stalemate for weeks. Meanwhile, the Chinese fleet was delayed by bad weather and internal problems. It finally arrived in July 1281 and joined the Korean fleet near Kyushu. The Mongols hoped to launch a final assault on the Japanese, but they faced another obstacle, a massive typhoon that swept across the sea and devastated their ships. The typhoon lasted for 2 days and nights and sank or damaged most of the Mongol ships. Many of the Mongol soldiers drowned or were killed by the Japanese, who took advantage of the chaos and attacked the enemy ships. Some of the Mongols managed to escape and return to Korea or China, but most of them perished in the disaster. The second Mongol invasion of Japan was a colossal failure. It was one of the largest naval operations in history, but it ended in one of the greatest military defeats. The Mongols lost more than 100,000 men and thousands of ships, while the Japanese suffered minimal casualties. The Mongols never attempted to invade Japan again, and Japan remained independent and isolated from the rest of Asia for centuries. The Japanese saw the second typhoon as a miracle, a sign of divine protection and favor. They called it kamikaze, or divine wind, and believed that it saved them from the Mongol threat. The term kamikaze would later be used to describe the suicide pilots who attacked the American ships during World War II, in another desperate attempt to defend Japan from foreign invasion. The second Mongol invasion of Japan was a turning point in Japanese history. It showed the courage and resilience of the Japanese people, the skill and honor of the samurai warriors, and the power and faith of the Kamakura shogunate. It also marked the end of the Mongol expansion and the beginning of the decline of the Yuan dynasty. It was a clash of cultures, religions, and civilizations that shaped the destiny of both Japan and Asia. So, to sum up, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is very likely to happen, but we don't know when or where it will be announced or released. Maybe the game might announce at the end of this year or the next year. And I think that the game will be a PS5 exclusive, or maybe even a PS6 launch title, depending on how long it takes to develop. But that's just my speculation. What do you think? Do you want to see Ghost of Tsushima 2? And if so, what do you want it to be like? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.